Welcome to the Align Life podcast by yours truly, Dr. Tiffany. How about we get out that magnifying glass and look at every part of your life? The awesome, the suck, and everything in between. There's so much beauty in you. Stop being afraid of what isn't good enough and let's double down on what is together. It's about your truth and your life, aligned. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to talk about communication, in particular, the tone of our voice. For the next 2 episodes, I'm going to dive into basically what we say and how we say it. So this day is going to be about tone, how we approach it in certain situations, knowing that it's the first impression, one of the first impressions, I shall say. People create an opinion of you based on how it comes out of your mouth, not necessarily what comes out of your mouth. And the second episode next week is going to be about the language we use, what we say. So today is more so how we say it, and next week will be about what we say. And so when I talk about first impressions, there are many, and we all may be sensitive to those first impressions that we notice first. One of the things that I've always noticed is tone. And, when I started this podcast, I thought, man, there's so many things that I can go on and talk about and interview people. I'm really intrigued with people's stories. And there's just some things that I've learned in my life and years in business, being a mom, being a wife, all the things that I feel like I could have a voice that you could learn from. This one I've gotten better at, but this is definitely an episode that I know is so important and that I'm continuing to work on. Very, very, very honest with myself to know that this is not always my strength. What I feel like I have improved on, though, is admitting that it's not my strength and also admitting that that's not how I want to always be seen. So I have a strong personality. But I didn't always have a strong personality. As we all know, we evolve, and the more experience and confidence that we have, the more we act different and we show up different. And so when I was a little bit more of a follower and pretty meek and cared a lot about what people thought of me, more so than what I thought about myself, is I didn't have a strong voice and I didn't ever want to use it. If you would call on Tiff in the classroom, I would put my head down to my desk. I would never, ever want to answer a question for fear of getting it wrong. And as I started to get into chiropractic school and know that I need to stand up for myself and build confidence and self-esteem, and now start to be an expert in something that I was just new at, chiropractic, and I changed my tone. That is what I could do immediately to change perspective in other people of how I felt about myself. Does that make sense? I kind of stuttered. So the, I don't know when I learned it, high school or college, the proverbial fake it till you make it was extremely beneficial for me in that respect. Think of the first impressions that we experience: eye contact, posture, handshake, how you dress. Tone is also one of them. So not what you say, but how you say it. And I learned about this in college in Mr. Kemmer's professional development class. He talked all about how to be a professional, how to show up, how to walk into a room, how to have that first conversation, how to make eye contact, how to use your voice, inflection, so on and so forth. And then when I got into my professional life and needing to be the expert in my mind right away, I went into this dominant command tone. There's command tone as one option, and there's question tone. You could see the inflection in my voice right there. Command tone, strong, deep, leadership, motivational, masculine. You know what I mean? And question tone is different. It feels different. It's lighter. It's friendly. It's breathy. There's different inflection at the end of the sentence that goes up. It goes higher. Command is strong and it's deep, and it's making sure they understand that I feel comfortable in this conversation. Those are two different things. And so many people talk about mirroring the person in front of you. So when you're mirroring somebody who has a strong personality and maybe a strong tone and voice, you're going to likely not be super meek and mild and feel uncomfortable with your situation. No, you're going to mirror them. You're going to put your chest out a little bit. You're going to get those shoulders back. You're going to open your mouth when you talk, and you're going to prove that you also have self-esteem and you believe in yourself, and I can have a conversation with you. Now, that works or worked. I'm going to talk about myself in my professional life. When I get home, though, it's not that good. I always sounded like I was yelling at them. And so they'd say, "Mom, why are you so mad?" I'm like, "I'm not mad. I'm just like saying what you need to do. Go clean your room." "Well, I've been gone all day and oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it as if you weren't doing it or you did something wrong." So the inflection in my voice went down. It was a period at the end of the sentence. It was command. It was delegating instead of friendly, maybe mirroring them a little bit more, asking it like it's a question, not like the Aussies ask it. "Can you go clean your room?" Just kidding. I have a lot of great friends from Australia, and they have helped me with my tone because at the end of every sentence, there's a question mark. So I would typically say, "Are you asking me a question, or was that a period at the end of the sentence?" But being aware of who's in front of you is so important. And if you're talking to your kids and you're helping them with their math assignment, or they got hurt outside on their bike, they fell and you got scared, so your tone went really strong and it scared them, and then they cried because they thought you were mad. Those are all signs for us. Life is all about observing signs that other people are trying to tell us. And that's what I mean by mirroring. You can totally tell how someone thinks about you based on their nonverbals, based on their eye contact, their posture, their eyes, not even eye contact, but what they do with their eyes, what happens to their chin if they're looking at you like you're a little bit bonkers, or like, "Ooh, I maybe don't want to say much to her." As soon as we are strong in our being and our energy, and I call it grounded, being grounded in who you are, you can observe others. When you're not always grounded in who you are and your identity kind of mismatches with that person in front of you, you're not always seeing what they're trying to tell you. And so tone is a goal of mine. Continually, I am very open and honest with, after I snap because I just got done having a difficult conversation, and they should read my mind. So they ask me a nice question like, "How was my day?" And I'm like, "Fine." And they look at me like, "Well, did something happen? Did I do something wrong? Or is everything okay?" And I am consciously in my brain thinking, I wonder why they said that. Oh, yeah, because of my tone. Tone can change conversations in a second to the direction that you want them to. Solution-oriented, friendly, or opposite. They can turn people off in a second, depending on how you approach it. And so I've brought my family and my staff into this. If I get sharp, just say, "Ooh, did I say something? Or is there anything I can help you with?" And that is a redirect. Now, I don't need all those redirects as much as I used to. But it just happened the other day. I was home, we were making supper, and I said something, and whoa, they had to ask to make sure that my day was okay, thinking I needed to talk about something. And so how can we approach life with a little bit more of a question tone is my goal. How can I have that warm, loving, open, intimate tone the majority of the time? And especially when you're at home with your family, because that's when you kind of lose that, protection a little bit. At work, you're probably not going to just spout something off. You kind of know how to filter that. Did I say home? I meant at work. But at home is like our safe space. It's the same as when a kid struggles at home versus in school or in daycare, and you constantly ask the daycare provider, man, Johnny has just been awful at home. How is he at daycare? Oh, he's great. Oh, good. All that means is he feels really safe at home. That's his place to let go and to not be so put together and not allow some frustrations to come out. And so I just wanted to share some of my things that I'm improving on in language. One is tone. And next week, like I said, we're going to dig into the language that we use, how we talk about things and how we talk about people. And I was just introduced to this when I was interviewing Callan on our podcast 2 weeks ago. I had said something like, man, you were kind of a train wreck when you went through that stage. And I actually think I said it on the podcast. And afterwards, she said, it makes me feel really bad when you say that. Like I was weak and that I wasn't good enough. And that in the moment you helped me through that, but maybe you didn't really believe what you were actually saying. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're totally right. How many words I use that describe a situation that someone may take as personal. I don't mean it as personal. I'm describing how it looked. That doesn't mean that you didn't do it right and it wasn't successful the way you did do it or the way we all went through it. But I think language is so important in building trust and building that intimate, safe relationships with your spouse and your kids and your parents and your siblings and your friends. So they know you're also somebody that they can come to, and you're not going to see the right or wrong, or you should have done this, or regret or failure. The more we can be a sounding board and we can mirror what they really need, the better our relationships are going to be, and the more we're going to learn about ourselves. So when we start to learn about ourselves, our personality, our values, our beliefs, now we can actually start to listen to the next person in front of us instead of be so worried to share what we think in all of it versus listening to what they're actually trying to tell us. So I hope this is helpful. I hope if you are like me, strong personality, speaks with strength maybe more often than he or she would like, that you just look to evaluate a bit. Recording yourself on an audio app is probably the best way to do it. And I realized I've learned the most in the last year doing a lot of video and a lot of podcasts, and I listen to myself, and that's when I really can recognize like, ooh, that wasn't the right tone in that situation. Or when I'm asking this question, or man, that was really good. The difference between this and this makes me constantly focus on getting better for that person in front of me, and that I feel like I'm understood, because I've lived a life of always feeling misunderstood, which is a confidence thing. So when I build self-esteem and self-worthiness and I know who I am, I'm going to be able to interact with someone else at a much, much deeper level, which I believe is just the name of the game in life, is connection and alignment and feeling like you're progressing towards something that is a dream, something that is what you've been searching for, because it's all about the journey and the process of getting there and learning new things and then evaluating how is that working for me. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any aha moments, I would so love to hear them. Comment, message me, text me, whatever, wherever. I would love to hear your experience and maybe what's worked for you to help you be a better communicator and a better listener. So I love you guys. Have an awesome day. Thank you for listening and following the Aligned Life podcast with Dr. Tiffany. If you love this and can think of anyone who needs to hear about it, would you mind sharing with them? Find me online at drtiffanyjohnson.com, where you can find out more about my memberships, courses, mentoring, and any upcoming events. To learn more about chiropractic for you and your family, go to htchiro.com and follow our social pages. I can't wait to connect with you soon, and until then, be you, be aligned.